purpose of today, this idea of the round table, is not so much to give clear-cut answers, right? There's a premise I have, a presumption. When I say presumption, it's one that I've reasoned out, but you may or may just not agree with it, and I'll give it to you anyways, and hopefully it'll be useful. The presumption is this, and it reverses actually a cultural bias. And the presumption is that certainty is only for amateurs. Certainty is only for beginners. They need certainty to feel like they're not cast adrift on this wild ocean, have a sense of control on something they're doing. Once you get to a certain point in any particular endeavor, I think certainty is poisonous. You, of course, want to be certain enough about certain things. There are anchor points that keep you working in a functional sort of way. But really, it's uncertainty where growth happens, right? It's uncertainty where things are developing. And if you really want to understand hypnosis, you've got to be really uncertain about what it is. If you want to become better at doing hypnosis, you can't be too certain of it. Because all you can do with certainty is replicate what you are certain about. If you want to improve it, you've got to go beyond what you are certain about. And by definition, that's what you're uncertain about. Does that make sense? Now, what I'm not suggesting, of course, is that you stay uncertain and become a nervous wreck. That's not at all what I mean, right? It's good to have, let's put it this way. It's good to be pretend as though that the things that you know are actually true and be certain about them whilst you're doing them, right? As long as, once you're finished doing those things, you're honest enough with yourself to realize that you were just tricking yourself a moment ago, right? That you were only pretending that this is actually true. You're only pretending that hypnosis exists, that an unconscious mind exists, and your client's really only pretending to get better over whatever problem that they had. And as long as your client continues to pretend that for the rest of their life, that's okay, right? Because eventually they'll forget that they're pretending, and they'll just get on with being certain that their life has got better, and that's good, right? But if you want to enhance your skill, if you want to break new grounds, if you want to do what's never been done before, you can't do it with the things that you're certain about. You've got to go to the places you're not certain about. And you've got to be willing to investigate the things you are certain about, to start finding those gaps in your certainty, the premises that our certainty is built up on, and you'll notice there's nothing there, right? Physics was very close to being what's called a closed field at the end of the turn of the last century. A closed field is a field where we know everything there is to know about this field. There's nothing new to learn, right? The only thing that there was left was this little thing called light and this little thing called gravity. And, you know, I'm sure any day now someone's going to explain how these things work, right? Newton really had single-handedly developed basically most of physics, and everything after Newton was really an elaboration on the ideas you already set in motion, right? It's a gross exaggeration, but a useful one, I think. But then, of course, in trying to figure out how light works and how gravity works, this led to the whole idea of relativity, the whole idea of both the general and the specific theories, the whole idea of quantum physics, and basically quantum physics is completely at odds with everything we thought we knew about regular physics. Now, here's a weird thing, right? Quantum physics is a demonstrable phenomenon, right, that works in rules that violate regular Newtonian physics. And yet, Newtonian physics works, and quantum physics works. The way that the gap has been bridged, and this is really a patchwork. This is not an actual integration of the theories. It's a patchwork of the theories. It's a band-aid that kind of lets you bridge from one to the other. Is to suggest that it's a question of scale. Quantum physics only works in very, very small scales, and some suggest that a variation of it works on very, very large scales. Newtonian physics works in between. It has a scale range in which it works very well to predict the universe, and outside of that scale range, it stops working, right? So is Newtonian physics wrong? Well, it is, and it isn't. It's useful, right? This building is, we're not dead right now because this building is holding us up, and it's holding us up based on Newtonian principles, right? The architect that designed this building, the engineer that tested this building, these are all things based on Newtonian principles. There's very little quantum mechanics that operates this building, right? But of course, quantum mechanics is fundamentally infused into every element of this building. So basically, we're very comfortably and safely sitting on a lie, right? And it's only by investigating that quote-unquote lie and looking at or questioning the underpinnings of something that more questions come out. The purpose of our roundtable here today, especially when it comes to external hypnosis, which is all about uncertainty, it's where the growth is. So our purpose today is to give you enough certainty about what you know so that you can move forwards, but to actually leave you less certain about what you knew so that you actually can move forwards. Does that make sense, guys?